Yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night. We are what? One, two, three more sleeps away? Is it Thursday? Yeah. Three more sleeps away from UFC 279. Um, we've got 13 fights on this card. 12, 13. You guys, it's been a long night. How's everybody doing out there? Your Uncle Weezy checking in here on a Wednesday night. Ask Weezy time. I've got my stats ready for you guys. I've got my prop template ready for you guys. I've got my matchup template ready for you guys. All the odds, all everything. Let's talk fights. Let's see what you guys are up to in the chat here. I just came off of my man Addicted to Combat show. What's up to Patrick? Check out his channel if you haven't already. Check out the show that we just did. We broke down all these fights and our best bets for all the fights. It's an interesting card, man. And Patrick and I had some fun chopping it up. But there's a lot to talk about tonight. So good to see Patrick in here hanging out. We've got the GOAT, John Jones, 27-0, light heavyweight. The King is here to see the Stat King. I appreciate you, John. Always good to have the best ever to do it. Undefeated John Jones with us in the room. Big ups to you. We got Real Deal Prime in the room. What is happening, my man? We got Victor DeJesus saying, oh, yes. I can't believe Fat Collier and Teddy Bear Fight Week is already here. Let's make these bookies cry this weekend. Yeah, man. It's Fat Collier Fight Week. It's Huggy Bear Fight Week. It's Norma Dumont and Danielle Wolf Fight Week. We got Super Melly Martinez in here. There's some good fights next week, too. I took a sneak peek ahead to next week, so I'm going to start on the stats for the Patreon members late night tonight. But 15 fights next week for the Sandhagen versus Song card on September 17th. That one's going to be wild, and there's some really good fights on that card. But this one that we got, I think the pay-per-view is going to be absolute fire. I think the Chimaev Aldana fight's the worst one out of the five, but I think it's still a great fight. Irina Aldana is special. She's got a ton of power in that left hand. And I agree with Bootsy that I like the dog in this spot. I like Macy Chimaev here at the plus money, specifically Chimaev by decision. I think she can drag Irene into a very greasy fight. And if she's capable of doing that against Norma Dumont, it's potentially possible against Irina Aldana. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight week, but that pay-per-view card, like I say, Holland and Rodriguez, Li Jingliang against El Kukui, and then you got Walker against Kudalaba, and then Hamzat Chimaev against Nate Diaz. It's going to be fire. We got my guy Grateful Dude is in the room saying, oi, what's up, man? How's it going? We got Victor saying that, Patrick, that was a great show tonight, brother. Keep it up. Patrick's doing great work over there on Addicted to Combat's channel. We also had Blood Money MMA Bets in there with us, too, in the chat. And he's got a channel that's approaching 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't checked out Blood Money MMA Bets channel, in addition to Patrick's channel over at Addicted to Combat, get on over there and subscribe to him, man. And Prince of Mischief saying 100%, Victor, that was a great watch. Weezy's special victims joke killed me. Dude, you know what was funny? I was planning on telling that joke for just the tip last night. And then when it was over, like a lot of times, I've got things that I think I'm going to say, and then I just forget to say them. Or, you do a 2-hour live show, some things slip through the cracks. But when I finished the show and I was putting the timestamps on it, I was like, God damn it, I had that sweet special victims unit joke and I didn't use it. And I'm like, I will have a chance to organically use it on Patrick's show tomorrow. So I saved it for Patrick's show. I appreciate that you like that one, Prince of Mischief, because I actually liked it too. It made me laugh. And then Victor DeJesus saying, at Prince of Mischief, yeah, man, Weezy is fucking hilarious. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you guys. Go Flamingo saying, don't forget your wins over your wife and random pregnant lady, Mr. Bones. 29-0. 29-0. And I believe USADA, he's like 5-0 against USADA by hiding underneath the octagon at Jackson Wink. And, John knows how to win, man. He comes from a family of athletes and they know how to win, man. And we got Jenna Doyle in the room here saying, what's up? She's saying, awesome show and card. Yeah, in particular, I do love this pay-per-view card. It's a fun one for sure. And we got Daz Files in the room saying, oi. And we got Jenna with the fire here. And we got Victor saying, hey, yo, Weezy, what's your most confident line of the card that's not horribly overpriced? What line would you max bet? All right, so let me share my screen for you guys here, which I tried to do last night on Just the Tip. So for those of you guys who are wondering why the stats weren't on the screen and people were asking me, I have two monitors in my office, and the one that has the StreamYard on it, the screen where I see myself, it shrinks way down, and I can't tell sometimes whether it's just me on the screen or whether I'm sharing my screen or not. I didn't even realize that I clicked to share the screen, but I must have mishit it or something. So it never shared it. But you guys can download the stats for free. And I talked you through all the stats anyway, but that's the first time I never had the stats up for Just the Tip. So that was not on purpose last night. But now that we've got the screen shared, we can go to this one here. Now, I know a lot of people are on Daniel Rodriguez this week, but I like the money line on Kevin Holland here. I think he's gonna beat this dude. It's gonna be something I'm gonna be looking to parlay here, put in my greasy 4-leg parlay that I put together late night tonight and early tomorrow. But this is one that I do like. I like the Kevin Holland money line. What's not horribly overpriced? What would I max bet? God, you know what I fucking hate is that the Khamzat Chimaev Nate Diaz fight on Best Fight Odds is completely screwed up. So let's see. We're going to fightodds.io here, and we will get the Khamzat Chimaev Nate Diaz under 2.5 Vic is something at minus 160 on 5 dimes. I would love to get it there. Minus 185. I just think that Khamzat's going to absolutely maul this dude. And I don't think that this fight's going to take place on the feet at all where Nate will be comfortable. I think it's going to be Nate's on his back. And I don't think that he's going to catch Chimaev or in an armbar or a triangle. So I do like the under 2.5 at minus 160. I think is something that I would consider big time, because think about it. The only time that Chimaev's been over 2.5 was in the Gilbert Burns fight. And I mean, Nate Diaz has both feet out the door here. I mean, I don't even think he shows up for this fight, frankly, but the under 2.5 is one of my favorite lines of the week. And when I have that on DraftKings and stuff, that's going to be something I'm going to be looking to put into my parlays, because I just think it's a really good line. I think that there's no way Nate Diaz even makes it out of the first round. And if he does, I think that the ref's going to peel Khamzat off of Nate at some point here. He's just going to get stuck underneath this dude. And Nate Diaz has never had any takedown defense, and never really had the ability to do anything from his back other than threaten with submissions. And he's got, and I've said it ad nauseum this week, but I mean, he got tossed around by Manny Gambarian, who's a 135 pounder. Khamzat is huge, much bigger than Nate Diaz, much stronger, and by like a light years better wrestler. So yeah, I think that one is something that I'm very confident that we see an under 2.5 hit here at minus 185, which is bettable on Jazz, and minus 160 on Sportbet and 5 dimes. That'd be a line I'd love to get access to. Victor De Jesus saying, I'm super excited for next week too. That Damon Jackson versus Pat Sabatini fight is straight up fire. I was just looking at that. If I click back here, where was I? Yeah, here's the Sandhagen versus Song card, you guys. Check this out. Sandhagen Song. Chikadze versus Sadiq Youssef. Chidi versus RoboCop. Tanner Bozer versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Aspen Ladd, Sarah McMahon. Andre Philly versus Bill Algeo. We got Trey Ogden versus hot prospect Daniel Zellhuber. Nick Mata against Cam Van Camp. Trevin Giles against Luke Cosi. Luke Cosi is so much fun. Damon Jackson, Pat Sabatini. Anthony Hernandez against Marc-Andre Barrio. We got Alan Abadovsky against Bodybags Pfeiffer. Maria Agapova against Jillian Robertson. Tony Gravely against Javid Basharat. And then Loma Lukbunmi against Denise Gomez, who just got the contract on the Contender Series. So that's a fire card. For a fight night card, I mean, Damon Jackson, Pat Sabatini, Bodybags Pfeiffer, Anthony Hernandez. This is going to be so much fun. There's so many great fights on this one. Can't wait to talk about that one next week. And Gogo Flamingo is in the room saying, "Oi, Weezy, great calls last week. How did you make out? Whitaker by decision and Gone by KO 3-4-5 came through big for me. I wound up down 1.33 units. I was this close to being up a little over 1 unit, but the bet that I finished with was Gone 4-5 decision. And he finished with 36 seconds left in the third round. So I was very close to cashing that Gone one. But, he just caught Ty beautifully there and was able to finish him just with precise, powerful strikes. Gone looked fantastic. But that was a great fight. That was one of the most exciting Cyril Gane fights that I've ever seen. Tai Tuivasa was a great dance partner for him, and he brought a fun game plan, and he had him in trouble once. That's the most trouble we've seen Cyril Gane in. So that was a great fight. But yeah, I came out down 1.33 units, and the greasy four-legger was the Abusupian Magomedov money line, the Saint Denis money line, Robert Whitaker by decision, and then Gone 4-5 decision. So the plus 800 parlay was 36 seconds away from hitting, and it was the difference between being down 1.33 units and being up like 5 units. So it was a big swing for me. But that's the gambling game we play. But I was on like a 3 or 4 event winning streak before that, so looking to just get right back in the win column this week. Prince of Mischief saying, imagine Khamzat sees plus 185 by sub and decides that instead of KOing Diaz, he goes for the sub and cashes his ticket. Everyone I see has Khamzat by KO TKO. That would be funny if you could bet props on yourself. I'd love to know what props fighters are betting on themselves. Excuse me. All right. And we've got Victor saying Chimaev Diaz under 2.5 is minus 170 on Caesars. Go play that. I already have a play on the under 3.5. I'm going to play that, Victor. That is going to be probably the second leg in the greasy 4-leg parlay. I'm looking at that Kevin Holland money line. I'm looking at the under 2.5 for Chimaev Diaz. I'm eyeing up the over 1.5 for Lioness against Weeks. And then we'll see what else. I got to look into it. Sometimes I do too much content and it gets in the way of my gambling. But that's a nice problem to have, you guys. Gogo Flamingo is saying, don't you think Khamzat is going to try and put on a show? I think he's going to stand for a while or until something dicey happens. I don't think he will. I mean, Khamzat's a very smart fighter. He does what comes naturally to him. You saw in the Ikram Aliskerov fight, Khamzat decided not to grapple because that's where Ikram would be most comfortable. So he stood and struck with Ikram and stopped Ikram's takedown attempts. But in his other fights, like against Kisich on the regional scene, against Hawando on the regional scene, he's going out there and getting takedowns 2 seconds into the fight. He did the same thing against Phillips. He did the same thing against Reese McKee. If he knows you don't have a ground game, he takes you down immediately and he just mauls you because he's really good at it. And Nate Diaz has 0 ground game. I mean, I know his ground game was great back in 2005 or whatever. That was a long fucking time ago. It's 2022 now, and people know how to defend against a triangle choke. Khamzat's going to maul this dude. I don't think he's even going to try to put on. I think he's going to put on a show by just disposing of this guy who doesn't belong to be in there with him in very, very, very short order. And it's not a hot take at all. Believe me, I know that. We got Silky B in the room saying, sorry if I missed the info. You think Diaz lasts 1.5 rounds? I don't think he does. I don't think he does. I'm going to give, just in case what Gogo Flamingo just said is true. And if he does decide to play with his food a little bit, I'm taking that under 2.5. But still, yeah, I don't think he even makes it past the 2.5 minute mark of round 2. What's the best prop for Walker Cutelaba on the probability? You said over 0.5, but this spells violence. Yeah, it does. These guys are absolute finishers. So let me zoom in on this for you guys. This is the prop template. This is available on my Patreon. And what we do on the prop template is we take all the betting lines, and the betting lines I put here, like fight doesn't go to decision, minus 325, under 2.5, minus 275. And then we take those betting lines and we do a mathematical formula to convert them. And that mathematical formula is right here, to convert it into a percentage. And then once we have the percentage of the line, we can compare the stats and the metrics that I've accumulated for 3-round fights, for 5-round fights, separated them by division, and we can compare those benchmarks now to the implied probability of the line, in addition to the fighter's propensity to go to decision, to not go to decision, right? And then we do those calculations here, here, and here. So the first calculation we do is the divisional finish rate, which for men's 205-pound fights is 60.98%. So we know that 61% of the time these fights finish inside the distance. And then we could take that and we could subtract the implied probability of the line of 76% and see that we're overpaying by 15.5% when we compare that long-term benchmark for how many fights finish inside the distance that are exactly 3 rounds in the 205-pound division, just to see, are we overpaying? Are we underpaying? And then we also can compare the fighter finish rates. And we can see down here that Cutelaba and Walker have finished 14 of their 21 combined UFC fights inside the distance. So that's 66.67%, right? So when we take 66.67%, subtract 76.47%, we see that we're overpaying by 9.8% there. And so this prop template, which is available on the Patreon, does all these calculations, and it provides all these metrics for 5-round fights separated by division, how many fights there were, how many fights didn't go to decision, how many did go to decision, how many went over 1.5, over 2.5, all that. And then we've got that separated out by 5-round and 3-round fights. And then we feed that information into the template itself, and then we compare the betting lines against these benchmarks in order to find out which lines potentially have moved too far, or whether the bet that we're planning on making is overpriced according to the stats and the metrics that we have available to us. So, and you were asking about Walker versus Cutelaba. Minus 325 fight doesn't go to decision. So, yeah, it's juicy. It's juicy. But Cutelaba's fights have finished inside the distance at the UFC level 8 of 10 times, and Walker at 6 and 9. So they're both finishing at about a 2/3 rate, and we're paying 76%. So even though when I look with my eyes, I see violence here, I feel like you got to be very careful when you're laying juice and parlaying juice. And I feel like I would just need the number to be better for me to bet it. But I still believe that fight doesn't go to decision is the most likely outcome for this fight. I just don't think I'm going to bet it because minus 325 is so fat. But I still do think that, if you put a gun to my head and you said, does it finish inside the distance? Does it not? That's the bet I make. I probably parlay this to make it a bet. But yeah, I think it finishes inside the distance, but I'm not running the window at this price to do that. We got Grateful Dude saying, how many finishes do you think there will be at UFC 279? And all right, so Weeks Leoness, I actually think that one might go the distance. Martinez Reed, I think, goes the distance. And Helliger Alatang, I I think it's about a 50-50 shot that one goes the distance. Dumont Wolf, I think, probably goes the distance. Fat Collier against Barnett, I think that there's some value on the fight doesn't go to decision here, but still, it's we got a decent sample size of fights and we're overpaying, so it's not something that I'm running to the window to do. Teoluland Pickett, I think that there's probably a finish in this fight, but I'm not running to the window to do it. This is obviously a fight I think finishes. Turkali against Almeida. Dawodu Rosa, I do think finishes. Walker Kudalaba, I think finishes. Aldana Chason, no. Holland Rodriguez, no. Jingling Ferguson, pop, yes. And I think probably 5 to 6 fights finish on this card. I would put the over-under at about 5.5 or 6, I think. But that's what I'm thinking. The time props usually speak to me a little bit more, or we get some lines where the template's kind of like telling us, hey man, the public has taken this too far. We can jump on the other side now. Or, man, they're missing some information. That there's too much value on this one. Nothing's really jumping out. And I think it has to do more with the stylistic matchups than it does with the placement of the lines. Some fighters have more than one way to skin a cat, and it makes their fighters a little less, or makes their fights a little bit less easy to predict. We got Aaron Twayashing. That's Aaron Twayashing. Weezy, what's up, Unc? What's up, Aaron? It's good to see you in here. I'm sorry I butchered your name, brother. That was I thought I could just have that roll off my tongue, and it was too difficult. We got Prince of Mischief 2225 saying, since you've been one off by one on the greasy four-legger, you should do a round robin. You're so close. I know, man. I keep getting 3 fucking legs on these greasy four-leggers. And, like the other one that got me, the one that got me a couple weeks ago was Molly McCann. I had McCann by decision, and she knocked out Hannah Goldie in the first round. And yeah, man, I've had a bunch that have been one leg short. Holly Holm money line was the 4th leg of one that she lost to Vieira. I mean, there's just been so close on so many, but that's the thing about the greasy four-legger is that we kind of go in with open eyes, knowing that when it hits, it's great, but we're laying, 8 plus 800 plus 1,000 plus 1,200. We know they're not going to hit too often, but god damn, I've been close so many times. I can taste it. I really want this one this week, and I gotta put together something that's gonna hit. I'm furious about it not hitting last week, man. That was heartbreaking. All right, and we got Aaron Maytoyashing saying Reese McKee by KO. Wait, no, is he fighting right now? I don't know, but either way, Reese McKee got absolutely destroyed by Khamzat Chimaev, but he looks a lot better when he's not fighting Khamzat Chimaev. Couch Warrior podcast in the room saying, what's up, Punk? It's good to see you in your Couch Warrior. I've done his show before. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, go do that. We got Gogo Flamingo saying Khamzat by KO round 1, 2, or 3 is plus 200. I like that. What book is that on, Gogo? That might be something I might bet. I like that one a lot. We got Low T City Ortega. I say, hey, Weezy, did you enjoy DWCS last night? Bonfim Bros look very good. I didn't bet it. I didn't know any of the fighters. I do so much content that there's no time for me to even research DWCS, but I always watch it after I do just the tip. And yeah, I was surprised to see that Penn State wrestler go out there and get out wrestled by a guy that was taking the fight on short notice and up a weight class. That was surprising. And the Bonfim brothers look fantastic. The Devon flu choke that the one guy got, and then the other guy beat a guy that was Fight Night's global champion, I think. With like over 20 career wins. They're both very experienced fighters. Very high level fight for the Contender Series between Bonfim and the dude from Azerbaijan, whose name escapes me right now. And then I fell asleep around just before 4 a.m, which was by the time I had done everything I needed to do. That's when I got to bed. So it was a late night for me last night. and I missed the last fight of the night, so I don't know who won that one. But no bets on it, but I enjoyed watching it because I love watching fights. And we got Prince of Mischief saying Hamzat's coach is going to smash him if he goes wild again. Last time he threw the towel at him in between rounds for not listening. Yeah, Hamzat doesn't strike me as the smartest guy on the planet. You know, the guy freely admits that he picked up and just went to Ireland looking for Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor had talked shit about Khabib, somebody he had never fucking met before and had no relation with, but just decided to pick up and go to Ireland because somebody that he had never met talked shit about somebody that he had never met. I mean, Hamzat, it's a good thing he's a good fighter because if he wasn't in the cage fighting, I get the feeling that dude would be a fucking menace to the entire planet. So I'm glad that he's making money fighting in a cage right now because it keeps the rest of us safe. Silky B saying people are saying female fights are too volatile. Any idea the percentage of female underdogs winning? I don't have those kind of numbers. I don't have a fight database that has opening and closing lines built into the data for the fight. I would love to come by that information and then build some metrics like that. That kind of information is very valuable, but you know, you got to do some pretty involved data science to get that kind of information. But lately, I've been a lot more willing to bet plus money. I'm thinking about betting all the plus money underdogs that are female this week. Elise Reed, Danielle Wolf, and Macy Chiasson, I think, are all live at the current lines that they're at right now. And you know, I think that those are close fights. Chiasson Aldana, I think, is going to be close. I think Reed Martinez is going to be close. And I think that Norma Dumont, if you're paying minus 400 from Norma Dumont, you're making a lot of assumptions that you don't have a lot of data to back up those assumptions. And in my opinion, those assumptions are, oh yeah, Norma's going to go out there and wrestle this girl and easily be able to take her down and then work for a submission while on the ground. But Tanisha Tennant was 0 for 7 on her takedown attempts against Danielle Wolf. And Danielle Wolf looked, every time Tanisha tried to put her on the cage, she framed off. She circled off the cage the right way towards the underhook side and just, you know, got off the fence every damn time that Tanisha tried to put her there. The only time that she spent on her back was because she went for a guillotine that actually looked like it was fairly close. So I think Danielle Wolf, if she stops takedowns, if she doesn't let Norma hold her up against the cage, it's going to look a whole lot better than plus 300 or plus 330 or wherever you can get her now. So very interesting fight. But, you know, there's no way I'd lay that kind of juice on Norma Dumont. And we got Sean V in the room saying Weezy 2024. What's up, Sean? Good to see you in here, brother. We got Prince saying, what's the stand on flyweight unders? Recently, they've been finishing under 2.5. So for 3-round fights, which I'm guessing is what you mean, they are finishing under 2.5, about 37.87%. Yep, 37.87% of the time they go under 2.5. 27.66% of the time they go under 1.5. 9.79% of the time they go under 0.5, and they're finishing inside the distance since the year 2013, 41.28% of the time, the lowest out of any of the male weight classes. Second, a close second, is featherweight at 43%, and featherweight is sandwiched by bantamweight at 49.25% and lightweight at 50.56%. And we've got Victor saying at Low T City Ortega, hell yeah, bro. The Bonfim brothers are so good. Looking forward to both of them in the future. And yeah, I know that one of them is very experienced, and the other guy looked really good too. So yeah, they had it was not since the Kosi brothers have we seen brothers just impressed like that on DWCS. We got Arcee in the room saying Ion should kill Walker's guy. Feeling cautious about Ferguson. Cheers, Uncle. Hope we get to talk soon. Thanks for hanging out, my man. I appreciate you. Yeah, I hear you, dude. Kutalaba's a big favorite for a reason. Guy's a tough dude, great wrestler, great ground and pound, and he's just a scrapper. So looking forward to that fight. I think that's one of the best fights on the entire card. That one should that fight disappointed, I'd be shocked. You have to live in Australia to use it. Sportsbet, can't post a link. I can't use DraftKings or any other books you talk about. I hear you, man. Yeah, we all got access to different books. And wow, listen to that cat. And then the dog starts whining when he hears the cat do that. Okay, looks like they've quieted down for the time being. But yeah, the cat starts screaming, and then the dog hates hearing that. So then he starts whining, and they go back and forth. And this is every day for me, you guys. I'm just dealing with this every day. We got John Smith saying Norma Dumont is weak. She was out-muscled by Aspen Ladd and Macy Chiasson. Yeah, well, Macy's huge, though. Macy's a huge 145er, and when she cuts down to 135, she's even bigger. So, well, for the division, obviously she's smaller than she is at 145, but you get what I'm talking about. We got Joe Gogo saying I've also got Kevin Holland money line and Hamzat KO round 1 plus 610. I like that. Yeah, because I've got that Kevin Holland. I'm going to be putting that Holland money line in the parlay. I'm going to be putting the under 2.5 in the parlay. I just got to find the other spots. We got Banana Boat Floats saying Big Uncle Weezy. What's up, dude? We got my bad Weezy. Yeah, and you got it right there, my man. John Smith saying, how long do you think Diaz lasts? Not sure if I should play fight doesn't start round 4 or give up front end finishing equity, e.g. Hamzat rounds 2 to 5 plus 125. That's interesting. Yeah, because I think there's a good chance that Hamzat just gets him out of there in the first, like quickly. Dude is so explosive, and I just don't know where Nate's going to be better than this guy anywhere. I think even if he boxes someone, if Hamzat touches him once, he's going down. I mean, like he slapped Gerald Mearshart up at 185. Nate Diaz is a 155er, and he's an old one at that. And the people who are thinking that like Nate's going to out cardio Hamzat, I would encourage you to go back and watch the second fight against Conor McGregor because Conor's done after one round. I mean, Conor brings 1 round cardio. He's hell unleashed for 1 round, but after that, he's dog shit. And you see, I mean, like Conor doesn't even look like he wants to be there after the midpoint of round number 2, and he's completely done. And what does Nate Diaz do about it? Absolutely nothing. So yeah, and that was how many years ago? Back when Nate still gave a fuck. And I mean, who do you think would win, Hamzat or Conor? Jesus, dude, this is going to be a mauling. I would Hamzat rounds 1, 2, 3 on FanDuel. I would be interested to see what that is at because that would be a line I think would be a good one to play. I already played Hamzat over 1/2 of a round plus inside the distance for minus 185. Yeah, so Nate's just got to last 2.5 minutes, and that'll be a sweaty 2.5 minutes. But I hope it hits for you, man. I think the cat wants something now. The cat is like almost like 18 years old, so I don't know what I don't know what she wants, but she does that at 4:00 in the morning. Sometimes she does that right after she eats. She has everything she needs. Trust me, I don't know what the hell she's doing. Prince of Mischief saying, prior to the fight, Ariel joked about Nate's team throwing in the towel 10 seconds into the fight with Nate saying he didn't train for this. I'm starting to believe that possibility. Get in and get paid. Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to be. He's going to get money just to show up. The show money will be there. And Nate Diaz ain't showing up for 12 and 12. I can promise you that. So, yeah, I could see him getting out of there early. And I mean, even if he tries, I still think Hamzat can get him out of there in the first round. So, yeah. And I believe him when he says he didn't train for this fight at all. Low T City Ortega saying, did you hear Grasso versus Araujo got promoted as the main event for the card that lost Jared versus Sean? Oh, okay. Very, very weak. Yeah, but at least it's a good fight, though. I mean, though Grasso and Araujo are top level women's flyweights. And Araujo just had an awesome fight with Andrea Lee. Grasso is really on the way up. I think it's a high level women's fight. And I think that they're going to put on a show. And you know that they're going to be showcasing women's fights, whether you like it or not. But I think that we've seen some shitty ones recently. There, it wasn't that long ago that Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica I headlined. This fight's going to be a lot better. But I get what you're saying, brother. I hear you. But hopefully the rest of the card is got a bunch of good fights on it too. And I've always said we go into certain cards, especially as a content creator, because I've got to be here every week doing my show. I mean, like I can't just like decide I'm going to take a month off, because then you'll go watch someone else. So, the thing is, I have to show up every week. So some cards are better than others, and some cards you look forward to more than others. But really, the best cards are the ones where you find the spots and then they fucking hit just like you thought they would, and you make a bunch of money. And we don't know which cards are going to be the profitable ones ahead of time. So, I look at every card. I try to go in with that mindset that like, oh, this might be awesome. It might be bad, but let's find the spots. Let's dig. Let's dig for those stats, find the spots, and stack cash tickets like flapjacks. That's always the way. And Victor's saying you should start thinking of a YouTube-friendly story time with Uncle Weezy and schedule it for the week off coming up later this month. We need it. Yeah, dude, I was actually talking with some of the guys because I've had 3 fantasy football drafts this week, but one of the ones that I do is with 6 of my fraternity brothers, a high school friend, and my brother. So we have a great time every year at this draft. And I was telling them that I've been doing the story time, and I was telling them some of the stories, and they were coming up with some of the college stories that I should tell if I can just make them PG-13 or R enough so that YouTube doesn't kick me off YouTube. But yeah, man, I got to do that more often. And I know you guys enjoy it. So I'm trying to work it into the rotation a little more often, man. Yeah, there's a good DJ if you like electronic music called DJ Cats and Dogs. I'll check it out, man. Definitely like house music the most in terms of that's what all the records are back there. A lot of old school house music, like from the year 2000, back when everybody was rich, and we were, God, that cat, man. Now the dog's going to start crying too. All right. Thank you for staying with me through this. I'll check it out, RC. I appreciate the heads up, man. Prince of Mischief saying, what's a fight you saw this year where the prop was super undervalued? Off the top of my head, it was JP Bays versus Durden. Fight doesn't go. -110. Ended in the first. Yeah, and that was a smash spot, dude. Brady and I talked about that one on Stat Diggers when we looked at the finish rate for both of those guys in wins and losses. That was an easy one. Na Liang fight doesn't go to decision, or the under 2.5 open up at -170 for -170 for the fight, the second fight, not the Carnelossi fight, but the fight against Silvana Gomez Juarez. That was like just like a smash spot for me. What else? I remember when Ari Quileng fought Cameron Else. I was looking for an inside the distance prop on Quileng because he was the ass shaving of the week that week, and 5 Dimes had it at +160, and I couldn't bet it because I was going to max bet that because I was absolutely 100% sure that AQ was just going to murder that dude, and I'm waiting for it to open, and like for some reason the props never opened on that fight until like literally the day before the fights. So they had already weighed in. And by the time, 5 Dimes got it out, it was out for 5 days before I got it available on any of my books. And it opened up at like -140. I wanted it at plus like 150. So I was just infuriated with that one because that was just one of the easiest smash spots that I was going to try to make like 8 units off of. And of course he finishes them in like a minute and a half. And then another one that I bet big was Nikita Krylov had a fight doesn't go to decision recently that was priced at like better than minus 200, and it was against another guy that was an absolute finisher, and I remember that one just didn't make any sense either. And that one finished in the very first round. So we find them as they come along, but they very rarely make big mistakes anymore. And a lot of times when they do, they open up the line when I'm sleeping, so I don't catch it. So it sucks, but that's just how it goes, man. You got to be really looking for when those lines open, because that's when you have the best shot of getting something that's out of whack and really hitting it. Because when you see something that's out of whack, you got to hit it, man. One of the ones that I got, I only bet it for 1 unit, but I just remember laughing out loud when I saw where the Nick Maximov Petrosky line opened up. Like, how the fuck is Nick Maximov minus 450 favorite? I remember I got Petrosky at plus 285. And then when I woke up in the morning, he was plus 350. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And then he wound up going back down better than, you couldn't get him even at plus 285 later on in the week. But, sometimes these lines, they just go crazy. And another one that I'm thinking of that fits that right now is Jailton Almeida. What happens when this guy gets out of the first round? Does anybody fucking even know? Has anybody ever seen this guy fight in the second round before? What if Turkali lasts past 5 minutes here? Is Jailton gonna be huffing and puffing? Does this guy have 3-round cardio? Looking at the body, I'm thinking no. I'm thinking he's got a lot of muscle on his frame, and the heart probably has a hard time pumping blood to all of it. So, there are certain situations where you're betting these massive wide lines on guys, like on Almeida, there's less than 15 minutes of tape on him at the UFC level in 3 fights. So what do we really know about the guy? You put minus 750 into your parlays, it's messed up. So, sometimes it's a favorite that just didn't open wide enough. But a lot of times for me, the smash spots, which aren't big bets, max bets, but it's like, oh yeah, you're going to put fucking Marcin Tybura at plus 350 against Romanov. Look at who Romanov's beat and look at who Tybura's beat. And it's a heavyweight fight. There's big variance in those. So I'm learning to just say when I see an underdog open way too wide, just slap a unit on it. It's too wide and you're getting value, and things go tits up in MMA all the fucking time. Favorites shit the bed all the fucking time. So when a line opens way too wide, just jump on it. That's what I'm trying to do. Low T City Ortega saying, Weezy, remember we can't trust these bad haircuts? Have you seen Tony? Yikes. Well, I've got Li Jingliang as the ass shaving of the week, so I love hearing that Tony's haircut looks like shit. I think I heard that he dyed it blonde. Probably looks like terrible, but I have not seen it yet. So definitely got to check that out, because blonde hair, moving up a weight class, 4 straight losses. There's a lot of things not to like right now about El Kukui, but I remember the good times because he's still my favorite UFC fighter of all time. The guy has had some of the best fights, most memorable fights, and that winning streak that he went on, man, was just the stuff of legends. I wish we could have seen Tony versus Khabib, even if Khabib mauled them. It would have been great to be able to see that fight, because it was the most anticipated fight in the last 10 years that never happened, in my opinion. And I wish it did, because it would have been fun. But I think Khabib would have mauled him. We got Juicy Q saying, LOL, my cat looked at me like, what the fuck was that? Hilarious. We got Bo Jackson in the room. What's up, Bo? Good to see you in here, my man. The cat and the dog emoji. I love it. We got John Smith at Prince of Mischief. Brito versus Philly. Canetti versus Moutinho. Oh, yeah. See, I lost on Brito versus Philly. I had Philly as the ass shaving of the week. So I got caught there, man. That one smoked me. But yeah, Canetti versus Matinho. I remember Matinho was a favorite. I was like, what? And that was a fight doesn't go to decision spot that I smashed that absolutely came through easily. Gogo saying, Oi, Weezy, what are your favorite MMA related YouTube channels? And if you've never seen Mixed Molly Whoppery's stuff, I have seen Mixed Molly Whoppery's stuff. Excellent produced stories about one fighter. I've always, I mean, like when I first started watching this stuff, I've always been in awe of the work that Cody Saftik does. So Dog or Pass is something that I watch every week. Love Cody and love Paul. I love Santino and Brandon over at Santino DeFranco's channel with the MMA breakdowns and bets. Those guys, you got a coach and a fighter. So, you could come to me for the stats and stuff like that, and for trends and for benchmarks and for higher level mathematical analysis of whether things are overpriced or underpriced. I've got the stats degree. I've passed 3 actuarial exams. The one thing I've never done is get into a fucking cage and get my brains beaten in by another human being. And those guys are out there fighting real fighters. Like Brandon is out there fighting as an amateur, and I think he's going to go pro. And then you got Santino, who's out there coaching, some of the best UFC fighters that are around right now. He's coached champions, and to hear those guys break down the fights the way that they do, I think is just extremely valuable. And then my guy DFS by the numbers, is the guy that I started watching and really getting into his content, which made me want to be a content creator as well. And he was kind enough to bring me on one of his shows and let me do my thing. So doing Stat Diggers with him has been amazing. Clint, Locke, Dan over at Best Fight Picks. All those guys are just like the OGs that have been doing amazing content for the community for years. And I always hate doing this because I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave out a bunch of people that I really do enjoy their content. But I think that's a great place to leave it for now. I was just on Patrick's channel. We got Blood Money, who's always in here. We got the Couch Warrior, who's always in here. There's a lot of people doing great stuff on YouTube, and we're blessed as MMA fans to be able to have as many great content creators in the space as we do. So that's a great question, Gogo. I'm glad you asked it, man. We got Brian in here taking notes. What's up, G? Good to see you. We got Victor saying, hey, Weezy, don't forget to tell everyone to like the video and subscribe. Dude, I always fucking forget to do that, Victor. Thank you for reminding me. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys when you do that. It does make a difference for the algorithm. And leave a comment down below, too. I always forget to tell my audience to help me out like that. But, it is what it is, man. It's like I say, when you're doing 2-hour shows by yourself and do 5 shows 5 days a week, some shit is going to fall through the cracks, and it does every damn week. A fun fact about Aricha Lang, he can't swim. During camp, his coaches were telling him to start swimming due to elevation, and he said no. Post-fight, he said he was embarrassed to admit he couldn't swim. Wow, that's surprising. Yeah, but, I remember I almost drowned as a youngster. A little story time with Uncle Weezy. I was at a pool, couldn't swim. My brother was there. My mom was there. My mom's friend happened to be a lifeguard, and thank God she was there. And my brother's 4 years older than me, so he was off with some of his friends, and I was kind of like doing my own thing, just trying not to get into water that was taller than me. So I got out of the pool, caught up with my brother, and then he was like, I'm getting out of here. And he started swimming towards the middle of the pool. So I jumped in and started trying to swim after him. Sank like a fucking stone, took a deep breath, brought a bunch of water into my lungs. And good thing my mom's friend was a lifeguard, and she saw it happening as I went under. She picked me up off the bottom of the pool and saved my life because I couldn't swim when I was a kid. But, I could swim now. But, yeah, man, it sucks not being able to swim. And if you've ever been close to drowning, it's fucking terrifying. I can promise you that. And then we got Let's see. Prince of Mischief saying, from DeFranco. DeFranco said that. That's wild. Yeah, because DeFranco's coaching AQ over there at Fight Ready, one of the top camps, man. And that's wild. I didn't know that. I did not hear that. You know what? I'm gonna watch Santino and Brandon tonight after I'm done with my show, because I saw that they just released theirs. So I'm gonna check that out, man. And we got Harmon Sarai saying, "Weezy baby, what's up, Harmon? Thanks for joining us in here, brother." We got John Smith saying, "I like playing fight ends round 2-3. Which ones do you like on this card for that?" I'm thinking Collier, Barnett, Weeks, Leoness. I could see Jing Liang Ferguson ending in 2 or 3. I could see Chimaev Diaz ending in 2 or 3. I have a bet on Holland Rodriguez fight going to decision. Betting on the durability of both guys there. Eldana Chason, I see that one going the distance. Walker Kudalaba, I think, is more likely to end in round 1 than it would be 2 or 3. Dawa Dewey Rosa, I think if it ends, it probably ends in round number 3. That would be one I would look at. Turkali against Almeida probably ends in round 1 if Almeida has his way the way he's been having it. Tia Lulin Pickett, I could see there being maybe a late. God, I don't like any of these. Maybe Collier Barnett. Dumont Wolf, probably not. And Helliger Alateng potentially, because Ann Helliger's got a lot of third-round finishes and late finishes in his career, and he's a very good finisher. And Alateng's got a lot of power in his hands. Martinez Reed, no. Weeks Leoness, I think Leoness is a little more front-loaded for the finish, and I don't know if Weeks is necessarily going to be a finisher at this level. I'm going to be looking at the over 1.5 for Weeks Leoness. We got Brian in here taking notes as usual, my man. We got Bananas and Grapes saying, "How's Danielle Wolf's takedown defense?" Well, so we've only got one fight, Bananas and Grapes, to watch, and she did fine. She did well there against Tanisha Tennant. And I was just on Patrick Addicted to Combat show earlier, and he was mentioning that Tanisha Tennant, since that Danielle Wolf fight at 145, I believe has become the 135-pound champion for Invicta. So she's a good fighter. You know, it wasn't like Danielle Wolf just got fed some complete bum who didn't deserve to be there so that she could show off and that she could get her contract. It was a close fight. And Tanisha definitely had her moments. But Danielle Wolf stopped every takedown attempt, and every time Tanisha put Danielle up against the cage, Danielle framed off with her right arm and got right out of there. So I think that Danielle Wolf has got serviceable takedown defense. I don't know how much Norma's going to push for takedowns here. I don't know how comfortable she'd be just striking with Danielle here. It's an interesting matchup. I think the line's entirely too wide. I might be taking a small poke on the Danielle Wolf money line here, just because, you know, if this fight stays at striking range, and if you know, Norma doesn't wrestle much and is unable to hold her down or keep her down, you know, I think that it's live that Danielle Wolf wins a close decision here. So I mean, it's looked good in the only chance that we got to see it, Bananas and Grapes. But you know, this is not Tanisha Tennant, it's Norma Dumont, and Norma Dumont has, I think she's 5 of 11 on takedowns. Let me see. Dumont, 5 of 11 on takedowns in 5 UFC fights, less than 14% control time for. Danielle Wolf gave up 29.5% control time in her debut, but that was mostly in the 3rd round where she went for a submission. So she has attempted a submission. It was a guillotine choke. It was close, but she had her in that choke for a good minute. And then after that, Wolf spent the rest of the round on her back. So that was where the control time came for. But you see, she has 100% takedown defense on 7 takedown attempts in her only fight. Juicy Q saying James Krause. Yep. James Krause. I don't know what else you're talking about with James Krause, but I like James Krause. Great content. That's probably what you're talking about. He does good betting content for the MMA community. He actually coaches fighters. He's actually been in there fighting these guys. And you know, You can learn a lot about the fight game just listening to somebody who's actually been in there talk about it. That's how we get good at what we're doing, by listening to somebody who does it better than us and listening to, how they became successful doing it. That's how we learn. And James Krause is somebody that can help us along for sure. Weezy, what's up, my man? Says Bob. I was wondering what your thoughts are on the overs for the Alateng versus Anheliger fight. I think I like that bet. I'm staying away from the time props in the Anheliger bet, in the Anheliger fight. So check it out. These violence lines here are underpriced according to the benchmark by about 1.5%, 2.3%, and 3.8%. So they're shading you towards the violence bets because they think the overs hit. But the overs are a little bit pricey. Minus 163 for the fight goes, overpriced by 11.21% when you compare it to the fight goes rate for the division, which is about 50%, right? So that's negative 11%. But when we compare the fight or fight goes rates to the implied probability of the line, we see that these guys are going to decision about 70% of the time. And we should see that number down here in yellow. Yep. 71.43% of the time here, these 4 out of 7 fights at the UFC level have went to decision. So we're getting some value there on the over, 9.45%. And these guys are going to decision at a 20% rate higher than the division does. So there is some value on these overs when you compare the small sample size of fights between Alateng and Helliger to the benchmarks of the division and to the implied probabilities of the line. So if I had to make a bet, I would probably lay a little bit of juice and bet the overs here, but both of these guys are very dangerous. Alateng's got a lot of power in his hands, and so does Anheliger. They're both good knockout artists. So it would be a greasy over, but that would probably be the way I'd play it. But I'm staying away from this fight pretty much as a whole. I just haven't found any angles that I like about it. We got Bo Jackson saying sink or swim. Yes. We got Prince of Mischief saying Danielle Wolf got a contract from Contender Series with only one MMA fight, but Bo Nickel didn't. Let that sink in. Yeah. You're not going to get any argument from me on that one, man. I'm not going to be saying, well, Bo Nickel should do, yeah, Bo's going to be here. And he's got another fight on the Contender Series. He'll shave that dude's ass. They'll hand him the contract, and then, he's going to be so juiced. Like the bettors are going to be waiting for their spot to fade Bo Nickel because the lines are going to be unbettable on him. Unbettable. But that guy is just, man, he's so good. On the Dumont-Wolf fight, count on Wolf to have made big improvements during the layoff she had. Just can't trust Dumont at that line, brothers. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. David Nettles saying, Weezy, what sportsbook do you prefer to deal with? Is it better to have accounts with multiple books? I have multiple. I have Caesars William Hill. I have Bet Online. I have FanDuel. And I have DraftKings. And I'm looking to add BetMGM into the mix as well. But you always want to look, and especially if you're trying to do this with a long-term perspective. If you're doing this with a long-term perspective, it's always important to find the best price. And when you have 5 different books, you're going to have that ability to be able to find things at a better price on certain books. And that allows you to be able to make more money on the bets you hit and lose less money on the bets you lose. And over a long timeline, man, that matters. So it's very important if gambling is just a hey, I like watching the fights on Saturday. I go out and I get a 6-pack. I place a couple bets, and I don't really care if I win or lose. It's that's different. But if you're trying to go through this with a long-term perspective and try to be a long-term profitable gambler, you've got to have multiple books. You absolutely have to. I appreciate that question, David. That's a great one. Prince of Mischief saying, what's the least odds you'd pay for an inside the distance? I only bet inside the distance at plus money. Yeah. So that's a great question. that is a function of lines getting too juiced. Like when Jailton Almeida is minus 750, since you're not really laying minus 750, you got to now start looking like, all right, does he get it done round one? Does he do it by knockout? Does he do it by submission? And that all those props are sitting there around even money or so, or if they have a minus in front of them, it's something that I think it's very, it would need to be such, like I would have to, if I'm laying minus 150, I would actually have to be like capping it at 90%, because minus 150 is 60%, so in terms of props, it's just too much. And I think as a with a long-term mindset, it's better to just stay away from those fights where you got a fighter that's minus 750 rather than try to pick the spots of how they're going to win. It's a fight. These things aren't as predictable as people think. Go saying, before I go super heavy on Holland, why are you liking him so much? Well, I like, first of all, the fact that Kevin Holland has got a massive reach advantage here over Daniel Rodriguez. And when you watch the one fight that Daniel Rodriguez lost at the UFC level, it was against Nick Dalby. And Nick Dalby has a very karate style striking. So he's in and out, he's bouncing in and out, and he's long. Well, look at Kevin Holland. He's got an 81-inch reach for a welterweight. Look, Francis Ngannou's reach is an 83. Fighters with 83, 82-inch reaches, 81-inch reaches, they're freaks. But they're almost always up at 205 or 265. Look at Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's got an 82-inch reach, and he's 6'6". He fights at 205. This guy, Holland, only has 1 inch less of reach. He's 3 inches shorter, and he fights down 2 weight classes. So that makes a big difference. So Daniel Rodriguez is somebody who is a boxer, right? And boxers are going to have a hard time closing the distance unless they walk forward. So Holland is going to be able to use that length. He's also just as powerful as Daniel Rodriguez. He's more accurate, and he's never been knocked down or out in his UFC career and in his pro career. So I think even if Holland does absorb a couple of big strikes, that he's going to be able to get through it and potentially hurt Rodriguez after he tries to go for a finish. So I do like Holland quite a bit here. Like the fact that he's fought the more experienced competition and that most of his fights took place at 185 against much bigger dudes. This is going to be a tough one. Daniel Rodriguez coming off over a year layoff, coming off wrist surgery. Wrist surgery on a boxer? I think it's a show-me spot for Rodriguez. And I get why people are taking him at plus money. The dude doesn't lose. He's a very, very good fighter, and he's got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, I believe, from 10th Planet. He's a very tricky submission grappler on top of being somebody that hits very hard. But, he's not a wrestler. Daniel Rodriguez only has 9 takedown attempts in 8 fights. So you can't count on him to go out there and do what Brunson did to Holland, what Vettori did to Holland. And, you look at Marvin Vettori is a guy who's went 8 rounds with Israel Adesanya. He just went 3 rounds with Robert Whittaker, right? Kickboxing with those guys. Vettori didn't want any part of Kevin Holland's stand-up. Think about that, right? This guy is going out there and didn't attempt any takedowns against one of the top kickboxers in the middleweight division in Robert Whittaker because he thought he could beat him on the feet. He attempted something like 20 takedowns in 5 rounds against Kevin Holland. He was petrified to be on the feet against this guy. And Marvin Vettori is one of the most durable dudes on planet Earth, and he didn't want any part of that stand-up. So I think that Daniel Rodriguez, because we can't count on this dude to wrestle and win minutes with his wrestling and top control, that he's going to be standing with the guy who's 6 years younger than him, who's 2 inches taller than him and who has a 7-inch reach advantage. I don't like this matchup for Daniel Rodriguez, and I will be throwing Kevin Holland in my parlay this week. I think Kevin Holland at 170 is a different breed, you guys. When I heard the name Danielle Wolf, my first thought was porn star. Well, you were wrong about that. What you should think is Olympic boxer, great athlete, and then now UFC debutante with her first official UFC fight, second UFC fight. We'll see how she does, man. If you want to talk about porn star, let's talk about the ass on Norma Dumont. That's the porn star element that's on this card. If you're an ass man, Norma Dumont is your woman. We've got Gogo Flamingo saying Khamzat Chimaev is fighting a 37-year-old lightweight. Let that sink in. I'm going to sip on this beverage while everybody lets that sink in because I couldn't have said it better myself. Chef's kiss. Prince of Mischief saying, which fighter is on your list, Weezy? Fighters will never put your money on. Number one, I will put my money on or against Abdul Razak Al Hassan ever again. That guy will knock out your fighter when you bet against him, and he will look like dog shit when you bet on him. Dante O'Mays, yeah, that was a really bad performance by Dante O'Mays against Abdul Wahab, but maybe we overestimated Mays. Mays really isn't that good. But we found that out. That's how we sometimes to find out the hard way, man. Dude, I gotta tell you, man, that last performance by Luis Saldana was just, in 0 to 10 in fight IQ was a negative 14. That was about as bad as it fucking gets. He, as a big underdog, should have finished Sean Woodson. Knocks the dude out, walks away, doesn't finish the fight. The referee doesn't stop the fight, and then he knees the grounded opponent. Whenever I see piss poor fight IQ, it just means that you're an insta-fade. And like right now, I got to believe that I would never have money on Luis Saldana. I could never bet Corey McKenna again. That was one of the worst fucking performances I've ever seen against Elise Reed. That was a negative 20 on 0 to 10 scale in fight IQ. And when somebody just shows bad fight IQ, it's just TJ Brown is probably on that list now. I don't think that guy's a smart fighter at all. But the top of that list is without question Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Post-traumatic bet disorder. Bob Spikerman saying, thanks a lot for the breakdown, man. I really appreciate the effort. Alatang and Anhelanger certainly got power, but they both really durable. Yeah, they are. They're both very durable. Line is chalky for sure. Yeah, and Anhelanger hasn't fought or hasn't lost since 2014. He's been finished in all 5 of his losses by submission, but he's never been knocked out. And now he's a different fighter than he was when he was getting submitted. So, yeah. Let's see here. We got Robert Sella saying that Gogo Flamingo, that was Leon's title elimination bout. Let that sink. Yeah, no kidding, right? That's wild. Yeah, it is sinking. Yes. Bob is saying, I'll be eating some chalk this week for sure on Jai Hilton. Fight doesn't go to decision. Good one. And Kudalaba fight doesn't go to decision. If those bets don't hit, I don't know what will. Yeah, I hear you, man. If either of those fights went to decision, people would just be like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So, yeah, that's you have to sometimes eat the chalk, and that's what you have to do sometimes. It is what it is. The reads on those, Jai Hilton's a killer. Both of those guys, Walker and Kudalaba, it's either going to be a Walker knockout or a Kudalaba knockout. But fight ends by KO could be a good one there. Not have to pay up so much for the fight doesn't go to decision. Bob saying I'm also on Holland versus D-Rod over, but I just took the over 1.5. Yeah, I'm on that fight goes because it was plus 155 And like I say, it was just a play off the durability of both fighters. Could certainly get burned there. That's gambling. Lucas Olzawi saying it's my birthday on Saturday, UFC, and some football parlays with some chicken wings. I love betting underdogs, so I got a few in play. I love it, man. Do it. I can't wait for I'm going to watch a little football tomorrow night on my day off. The Bills against the Rams, I believe. And I got 3 fantasy football teams, which I'm not particularly like mentally invested in, but hopefully they do well. We'll see how it goes. But MMA always the first love, but when football season comes around, I'm always excited for week 1. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Happy birthday, Lucas Olzawi. We got Bob saying, happy birthday, bro. Yeah, hell yeah, Lucas. Big 35 on Saturday, man. That's nice, dude. Congratulations. Not in the Ambrose saying, speaking of porn star, thoughts on creating an all-nude women's league? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All-nude women's league. I think people would pay for it. Yeah, but I think it's just kind of cheesy. I think we can let the porn producers figure that out while the rest of us mixed martial arts fans just appreciate the ladies who fight, whether they look like Virna Jandiroba or whether they look like Tracy Cortez. Appreciate them for what they bring into the cage, not for, their bodies or for how they look or what their Instagram game is. Really at the end of the day, it is about the fighters and the fights. But we have some fun talking shit, don't we? I always do. But either way, man, that wouldn't be something I think that I would be getting involved with at all. But you never know, man. These days, you just never know. Okay, convince me. Holland is the God King. Bet the farm, boys. Let's go. Let's go, man. Prince of Mischief saying the average age of fighters Paulo Costa has beaten is 39 years old. Is that true? Wow. That's wild. Diaz File saying Holland decision is plus 260. Really? Damn. Plus 260. I'm going to write that one down. Holland Dees plus 260. I might play that. Bob saying, I think I have to go 1 unit on D-Rod. I love that guy, and I love those odds, and D-Rod for sure will fight for you. Yeah, he will. D-Rod's a stud, man. D-Rod's a great fighter, and I hope he's entirely healthy after the wrist surgery and the time off. But he's 35 years old. He's getting up there, man. And Kevin Holland's still only 29 with 31 professional fights. We'll see how it goes. But, like I say, I don't hate anyone taking the underdog shot on D-Rod. I think it's always better to hunt for the underdogs than it is to lay all that juice. And we got Mushroom saying Leech round 3. I like that. And I'm also playing Turcali round 3 for at least plus 4,000 small. Just in case Jailton doesn't get him out of there early and he gasses late, which could absolutely happen. Lucas saying, I'm putting Holland in my parlay. I'm putting him in mine too. I have under 1.5, too many fights. Hey, Mushroom. We got Ice Viking saying, Weezy the cat needs to chew on some grass to help puke up a hairball. Is that what it is, man? I don't know what it is. Maybe she's hungry, but I think I just fed her a couple of hours ago. So she's just always fucking loud, man. Always. Bob's saying, I feel like Walker could submit Kudalaba as well. His takedown entries are reckless. Yeah, and he's got those super long arms, so he can catch you in a choke, man. Get you with chokes that people with an ordinary wingspan couldn't do. Daz Fowl saying plus 1,600 Walker sub. That would be quite a hit. Bob saying, I do think it will be Kudalaba 1 punch, 1 kill just because it's Johnny Walker. Well, yeah, Walker's gotten dropped a few times, gotten slept a few times, but sometimes it's right when you start talking about how chinny a fighter is, then they wind up absorbing it. It's weird. It's weird, man. Mushroom saying that Daz Files, what's up, brother? A chat I'm not blocked on. Yeah, you'll never be blocked here, Mushroom. I hope so. I so hope Hulk sleeps him. Yeah, he probably will. He's the big favorite, man. Lucas Olzawi saying, thanks, Weezy. Thank you, man. Prince of Mischief saying, do you like the old UFC belts or the new? I I don't really know, to be honest with you. I mean, like the new ones seem fine to me. I'd have to look at the old ones. I don't have a good answer on that one. Daz Files, what's going on? Plus 1,600 worth a shot. I'm in. Yeah, what the hell, right? Go Flamingo saying Hamzat KO round one, Lee by KO, Holland money line plus 1,450 worth a sprinkle, methinks. I agree, man. That's not a bad look there. I like that. Hamzat KO round one. And I think that's how he does it. Lee by KO, Holland money line. Yeah, not bad. Kevin Holland wins by decision or technical decision plus 235 on my book. Okay, not bad. Not as good as plus 260, but still, I mean, I think it is a decision, but Holland's got a ton of power. Prince of Mischief saying, who's the parlay buster on this card? Last week it was Jordan. The week before it was Usman. I think it's Norma Dumont, guys. I think it's Norma Dumont. I think it's just too wide. I think too many people are going to parlay her and not realize that she's not great anywhere. At least we know that Wolf's got great stand-up. She's an Olympic level boxer, so we know that. But like Norma Dumont, she's not really great anywhere. She's got good striking. She's gotten some takedowns, and won some minutes on the ground, but not a lot. Yeah, man, it's not something I wouldn't be parlaying her. Kudalaba could break some parlays, man, because Johnny Walker, dude, all it takes is one shot, and that dude's got ridiculous power. And if Kudalaba gets sloppy on an entry, Johnny can catch him with a knee. If Fat Collier lost, I'd be surprised, man, because Chris Barnett's just not great. But a fun dude, an exciting fighter to watch, a guy that you can root for. But yeah, man, those are the ones that I think could possibly do it. But yeah, I think there's not a lot of underdogs I'm digging this week. Thoughts on Weeks round 3? I like it, man. I think Weeks round 3 could be live because Leoness has faded out in the past, but he doesn't put the kind of pace on that Gabe Green does. And Gabe Green is extremely durable too. So he swum through some shit to get to where he had to get to in order to get Leoness out of there. So I think that Weeks, if he wins it, it's probably by a greasy decision where he mixes in the wrestling and tires out Leoness. But Leoness got some decent wrestling of his own, ton of power. I'm leaning the over 1.5 for that fight. And Gogo saying, why were you blocked for the mushroom? And got to take my lady Irene Aldana inside the. Irene's got a ton of power and a sweet left hand. David Nettle saying, Weezy, what avenues does Diaz actually have for a possible win? If Hamzat shits his pants out there, that's something, like an automatic loss. If there's like a situation with Aspinall or Ortega or Rakic where he just gets injured, there could be like a sniper in the crowd who shoots Hamzat. That's how I see him losing. I made the joke on Patrick's show that somebody referred to earlier. I think that when you watch that fight, you're going to see like Christopher Maloney and Mariska Hargitay and Ice-T sitting, ringside. You're like, what the hell are they doing there? And it's like, well, that's the special victims unit, son. There's about to be a rape here. And I think that that's what's going to happen, man. I don't think Nate is anywhere close to being on this dude's level. And I think that it's going to be a very easy win for Hamzat Chimaev. And he got accidentally blocked on Chronic Combat. Yeah, that happens sometimes where somebody gets accidentally blocked. Quadahomic Ramirez saying Weeks under 2.5 minus 150. Yeah, I could see it happening, because Leoness is very front-loaded and very, very powerful. And if he hasn't fixed his conditioning and pacing problems, you could see Weeks get him out of there in the late second round, early third round as well. So I don't hate it. I'm thinking about betting the over 1.5 and betting on Weeks' durability to make it through the first 7.5 minutes. But the more I look at that fight, the more I want to stay away from it. Prince of Mischief saying, if you see Aldana having power, Why do you like the over 2.5? It's in the probability parlay. Yeah, she does have power, but here's the thing: in order for her power to be useful, she needs to be in the center of the cage. And Irene Aldana has only attempted 4 takedowns in 10 fights because she prefers to box. Macy Chiason's attempted 33 takedowns in 8 fights, and she's gotten 11 of them, and she's spending 43% of her 85 minutes in the UFC cage controlling her opponent on the cage or on the mat, and she's being controlled just under 20% of the time, Prince of Mischief. So the stylistic components of this fight tell me that Irene Aldana is not going to be in the center of the cage swinging hammers. She's going to have her ass up against that cage. It's going to be a greasy, slow, grappling-based fight because that's what Macy brings every single time. And Macy is outgunned here on the feet, so she's a smart fighter. She's not just going to box with Irene. I think she's going to be getting inside, making this greasy, and I think it'll go the full 3 rounds. Gogo Flamingo saying Jordan hurt me bad. Did he look painfully average or did Wood look good? I'm not rewatching that thing. Yeah, Wood looked good, dude. Wood looked really good. Jordan's tough. I thought Jordan had some moments. I thought Wood had some moments. But Wood was able to take down Jordan, and Jordan does not have good takedown defense, and he was able to win enough with the control time in order to get the nod there. Prince of Mischief saying Wood looked good. Jordan was slow, and that round 3 Jordan was non-existent. Yeah, because he got grappled so much. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me here on Ask Weezy. 37 of you guys hanging out here at midnight on a Wednesday. I am going to sign off. It's been a long week for me. Going to start watching a little bit of tape for next week here, and I'm going to be coming back tomorrow actually to do a quick little greasy 4-leg parlay once the props open on FanDuel and give you a way that hopefully we can cash this one this week. But thank all you guys for hanging out. Check out the link in the Patreon if you want to support me. $5 a month for the basic stats, which you see on the screen. $20 a month for the prop template, which has all the analytics and all of the formulas embedded in it. Has all of the histories of the fighters. Fantastic stuff. You can check me out tomorrow here for the greasy 4-leg parlay whenever I put that together. And I appreciate all you guys watching. I'm going to check off for the night and see if I can separate these animals and get one of the cats to shut the hell up. So thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you next week for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Song. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 279. And I will talk to you guys soon. God bless. Good night.